Hello everyone, we're back with another DDK to SDK basics series, and we're going to be moving up to the SDK level here pretty soon. As a matter of fact, in this particular video, we're going to try to get a game around a 9Q to 5Q rank. What I want to see is how difficult will the games be if we just move the ranks up a little bit more? Will our basics that we're focusing on right now be enough to continue to win, or will we have to change things up? We will be changing some things up, but I do also have a feeling that as long as you really understand the basics that I've been covering, then this will also still be pretty easy. Before we get to that point, though, there's going to be a couple things that we will be focusing on here next, which will be focusing more on using our opponent's weaknesses versus just protecting ourselves. We still want to be solid, but that will be that next focus. Because if you can't take advantage of your opponent's positions, it's going to be really hard to push up to that Dawn level. Now, before we're done with the basic defense section, I do want to cover the Tsumego that I think is important to try to do. Now, we've already talked about this a couple times, but I've gone through and looked at it a little bit more in depth and figured out exactly what I think should be done. So we go back over here to the Tsumego Hero Collections. I've done a couple more that you probably didn't see last time I talked about this, but I still 100% recommend Easy Capture, Easy Life, and Easy Kill. These are really important problem sets to start with. They're fairly easy, like they say, but that doesn't mean they're easy for everyone. I think it's important to just try your best to complete these and then keep going until, let's open this up here, until we see something like this where we have over 90% accuracy and now under about 30 seconds average time. Accuracy is more important than the average time. So as long as your accuracy is as high as you can get it, that's all that really matters. And you want that for every collection that we do here on Tsumego Hero. And you can reset the problems whenever you need to with this little reset here. After you've gotten about 50% of the way, you can do that. But I would just finish the whole collection, reset, and then start again. Now, I wouldn't do it right after you finish because you have everything really fresh in your mind. I would wait a little bit and then try again. It's like you can wait a week, you can work on something else for the week, and then you come back. That's going to be true for all of these easy collection problems. And then the next set that I think is really important, so we need to practice more of this easy collection stuff, is the Korean Problem Academy number 1 and number 2. The third one ended up being a little bit harder than I wanted it to be. So you can challenge yourself to try to complete 3 and 4 if you want to. That's entirely up to you. But at a minimum, easy collection with Korean Problem Academy number 1 and number 2. As you can see, I also went through Life and Death Elementary 1, 2, and 3 is what I was working on. But there's a couple things that they do here on Tsumego Hero that I didn't really like. They actually changed some of the problems. I thought that was a little bit annoying. I wanted the collection to be completely untouched. But yeah, some things were changed according to the comment section, and I couldn't remember some of these problems when I was going through it because I've completed this collection many times. At least I'm fairly certain it's the same one. And if it's not the same one, then that's just strange for me. We will be doing Life and Death Elementary in general, the Chochikun Life and Death Elementary, but I'm going to absolutely recommend that we go over here to tsumegotatsuki.org and we download the PDF version of it. I believe Baduk Doctor always talks about how you should only ever solve problems on paper. So you can download and print it out if you really want to. But the idea is that if we are solving it on paper, the computer can't give us part of the answer, right? When we're solving it online, we can try to read everything out, but after we click a move, the computer will give you the next move in the sequence. So it's really easy to become a little bit lazy with that. So solving on paper is a little bit better. I did do that for the Cho's elementary collection multiple times. This is actually the collection that got me up to 1 Dan because my reading has never been that great. Just making sure I could understand these basic problems was enough to get me up to the Dawn level. So this is a really great time to start working on it. But before we work on it, there's one other thing that I would really recommend, and that is going over here to 101 Weiqi. Let's actually go back to the first page here and just make an account here on 101 Weiqi. You can do whatever Tsumego you want here, and if you can pay for the subscription to it as well, to do some of the collections that are hidden behind a little bit of a paywall. But what I really recommend is to go over here to the skill test, and our goal is to unlock as much as we can in the skill test section. Now, each time you do one of these problems, you have about 45 seconds to solve each problem that you get. So there's a little bit more time pressure than what you get in like a Tsumego Hero problem or any other sort of website a lot of the time. Some other ones have time feeders as well, but 101 is one of the better options for the types of problems you get. And my recommendation is to solve each level 3 times in a row before moving on to the next one. This was something that I picked up a little bit from the Baduk Pop app, where it has you solve, like in the practice section, if you solve level 1 3 times in a row, then it unlocks level 2. And this is only giving you 15 problems on that app, but I really liked the idea because it exposes you to enough problems that you'll know if you are going to struggle at this rank, even if you've unlocked the next one. So it'll tell you if you should be practicing this rank or not. And I think that helps quite a lot. When I was going through and unlocking all of these for the video, I found that around 10Q is where we start to get to classic Tetsuji and classic Tsumego problems. So that is the goal here, is to try to get as close to 10Q as you can so that you can solve these problems if it's possible for you. But it doesn't matter if you get there or not. The goal is to just do 3 in a row with each one until you can't do it anymore. And you just practice that one until you can do 3 in a row without failing. Now you can get 1 or 2 problems wrong and you still pass. So it's 3 in a row without failing in total. And you can move on to the next rank. And I think this is extremely, extremely helpful. You're going to practice a lot of the very, very basic stuff, just about liberties, basic cutting points, basic connecting, and all that sort of stuff. And then you start getting into more difficult things as you get up, right? That makes sense. So again, to reiterate, easy collection on Tsumego Hero, Korean Problem Academy number 1 and number 2. Then you do the skill test from 15Q to 10Q, or whatever your highest rank can be, doing it 3 times in a row before moving on to the next rank. And then downloading Cho's Elementary collection here at the very top and trying to do that on paper. You don't have to actually print it out, but on your computer screen where you can't click the next move is also acceptable. So now that we've spent forever talking about the Tsumego aspect, let's get into a game and see how we do at the 9Q to 5Q area. All right, we have a game versus a 7Q. And remember, we're going to just doing our 3-4 moves still. Nothing any different. I'm going to do opposing 3-4 just for fun. Make it a little bit different for me, at least. All right, they approached low, so I'm just going to be kicking. There's a standard Joseki that we've been practicing here. Kick and jump is always good. Yep, they do a 3 space extension, so we're just going to enclose our corner. We're enclosing small, of course, here. Interesting that we got white, but it should work. All right, interesting. I like this idea from them. They're trying to just strengthen the left side, which I think is a good idea. We have an enclosure, and we can get an extension along the top side, so I'm going to approach the top side here. I don't really want to just take the extension because they do have some strength nearby, so it's not going to be easy to take anyway. So, of course, they're kicking us, so we will extend up and take 3 space low. And remember, we're, again, focusing on just making our groups as strong as possible and then doing something. They are invading. You could try to fight back. You could try to do anything you want here, but I don't really care. Right now, we're just focusing on connecting. So attaching on top is the proper way to try to connect our groups up. So they're hunting here. There's a cutting point. So we need to cut here. We can't just let them separate our stones so easily. Okay, they're going down here. What they're threatening is threatening to connect up, but they're also threatening to Atari through here and really try to do something. If you really want to read it out, it's probably possible to do something here. So if you extend down, they Atari, we extend. They push, we can cut now. And they have 1, 2, 3 liberties, and we have 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5. We have a little bit more than they do. So you could also just take a liberty right away. This is always fine, but you're going to give them this Atari. So it just depends on what you're looking for. If we extend up, they connect, and then we capture. That's also perfectly good. One thing that we can do, though, we can definitely play this empty triangle to try to capture the stones. And if we capture these 2 stones, our group is very strong. So that is an acceptable way to play here. I'm not sure which one I would suggest most of the time. Maybe just extending up could be the right way to suggest, but then they might still try to fight. So let's go and capture these 2 stones. I think that'll make it a little bit easier for us overall. It's important to always consider the 2 or more options that you have in an area. Can you capture? Can you do anything? Usually taking a liberty is a great way to try to capture And so that's something you can try to read as best you can. Okay, we're going to be having amazing shape here when we connect this beautiful, is that a bulky 5? But you know what? It works. The goal was to capture the 2 stones on top, and I think we have done that for now. Okay, they're hunting underneath. This does not work. We just need to keep them separated here. Yep, and then we could just capture this in any way we want to. I like to capture from underneath. I don't think it really matters, though. Okay, they're connecting here, but we do not want them to connect up their stones in any way. So we're going to be jumping here to keep them disconnected. I think this is really important. Now, this isn't necessarily about attacking. It's kind of actually about not getting surrounded. If we can jump out and we're not surrounded, then we can control the center a little bit better. Interesting. They decided to protect their side instead of protecting their stones in the center. We probably don't even really need to do anything here. So it makes sense to want to do that. So for now, we have done what we wanted. We got to keep our group strong. We got to separate. And so we're just going to go for another approaching move at this point. So I'm going to approach on the bottom side and see how they respond. They're attaching on top. Remember, whenever someone attaches to our stones, we want to hane. And we need to protect this cutting point, so you can connect technically right now. But another way of protecting is to extend into the corner here. There's also some fun josekis with attachments and doing other things. But for now, we're just going to extend. So when they cut, we can Atari them down, and there's nothing they can do. Usually we want to make a little bit of a base here. We do have some stones nearby, but we're focused entirely on our own stones first. So we're going to make a little bit of a base like this. Okay, now they're jumping out towards the center. I'm not exactly sure why they're jumping this direction. I don't think it really does anything. But we've already made all of our groups very strong. And so the next thing is, where is our opponent able to make some extra strength or make some extra anything, really? And I think if they didn't jump here but jumped on the other side, like at P12, that was a little bit more annoying for them building this side of the board. And they also didn't defend, right? There's another move here they're supposed to play. You could decide to split this side of the board if you want to, but for now we're focused more on the reduction aspect for this part of the series. So I'm just going to be jumping one more time here towards the center. They're going to be very, very aggressively taking as much as they can. We've already done a little bit here. We don't necessarily need to keep going, but they still have these 3 stones they never defended. So I'm just going to be jumping here again as well. See if we can capture these 3 stones. And if not, maybe we get to build the top side. Okay, so they are going to be jumping out. And this is actually where the defensive style starts to become a little bit difficult. Because we need to attack, and we need to attack in a very strong way. If we're attacking and pushing them this way, we need to have some sort of profit that we're getting on the other side, which is usually going to be some sort of invasion. And so this is where the next step of this journey is going to be very important, because like we probably could have invaded the right side, probably could have done quite a few things here. So for now, I'm just going to be jumping one more time here to threaten to surround again. We're making the top side very strong, and I'm opening up all the windows, all the drop-down windows. This is not that great shape for them because this is a large knight's move. So we want to keep them separated. So I'm just going to be attaching here to keep them separated. I'm glad he played this move because now we can just extend, and this is bad shape for our opponent in the center. Remember, our goal for this is not winning this game. Our goal is to make sure we're playing that very strong, simple, solid style. This is also where if we know how to take advantage of our opponent a little bit more, we can maybe cut here. We can maybe do quite a lot. So if we read out a little bit here, so we block this one, they block, we Atari, and then we go to capture. Does this ladder work? And it looks like it does just barely work. So let's see if we can do that. I want to try to read the most basic thing possible. All right. So now we can Atari, and I'm fairly certain the ladder worked. If we trace it out again, I'm pretty sure it did. So we'll hope that I read that out correctly. And there we go. So we got to use our basic reading skill to reduce this again, which turned out pretty nicely here. But we can potentially do even more when we focus more on our opponents next. Yep, I'm just going to be capturing directly. The capture directly is always a good move. Now we're also threatening to jump into their area, so they should usually defend that again. And we could even play some more moves here, which is really annoying for them. For example, this press down move is connected to my stones. And they still have like weakness here, which is annoying to handle. And for now, I'm just going to, I could maybe jump or something, but I'm just going to extend. We're going to show that there is this weakness here. So they had to block it this way, so we get to break into their territory even more, which feels absolutely great. They probably should just let the 2 stones die. That should have been probably the right idea. Okay. I do want to not let them connect, so I will block one more time. This is also threatening the corner a little bit, so we may not take advantage of the corner, but they do have to worry about us potentially doing that. So let's see what they do. All right, so they are defending. That is good. The only thing we have to wonder is if we have any weakness at all. I think our group is fairly strong. There is this wedge in the middle. I do want to point this out. If they do that, we have to Atari from the outside. Then we connect in some way, and they Atari us. And, you know, we are technically not connected anywhere, but I think for now we are okay. So the next thing for us to consider is if we can do anything to their area, maybe build something or do something else. Because we've already broken into the side, so we feel pretty good about that. So we could still try to go after that middle area to some degree. Or at this point, if we think we're strong enough, this is where we can try that first sort of invasion. And so I think we're going to do a very basic invasion here. The idea is we're just going to try to connect up to our stones. And we'll probably talk more about these types of invasions later. For now, as I said, we're just doing it as simple as possible. Wow, they are really trying to kill our stones, but we're just going to connect up. This is a very common move that I should probably make a video about, but we're able to connect up underneath, so that feels pretty good. Okay, they're just letting us connect really easily, so that feels nice. We don't want to let them Atari, so I'm going to extend here. That would give them a really nice tiger's mouth, and now they at least have cutting points and things they have to worry about. Our group is actually all connected, but if they push here, then they can push again, and it actually starts to be a little bit annoying, so I'm going to go back and actually fix this part of the shape. So these types of moves are the ones I think people may not realize. That's why I really want to try to point them out when I can. Here, they're just trying to build more of the center area, so I'm just going to ask if I can come in. They say no, so I'm just going to turn here, ask if I can come in again. And we could play one more move on the top side to clean up the top side and just take that. Or we could try to find a move somewhere else. For now, I think I'll just clean up the top side, make sure they can't come in, and make sure we have all of our points in a very solid area. They're trying to come in, I guess. This is a basic thing you can try to read. So it's a cut, and then they try to do a cut here, usually. And then we could Atari, and then they could Atari and try to get us. But there's actually something they do have to worry a little bit about. Let's see what they do. Okay, yeah. The thing they have to worry about is that this isn't Sente. So we can just extend. Well, Sente is in like, I don't have to capture the stone more so than anything else. We can actually just extend back, or we can even Atari and connect in some way. And I think just extending back is going to be fine. So we still got to keep all of our territory, and this didn't really change anything for Black's position. Okay, they're fixing something over here. I'm not exactly sure. I don't think there was anything that I could do. I may as well give them some slightly bad shape by pushing here if I want to, but what we have to really worry about is the center area. I think that's more important. So doing something in the center here, like finding out the line here that we want to go to and then trying to play around it, somewhere like this. I wasn't sure which side I wanted to go on, but this will be good enough. They attach to us, so we'll Hane. Usually you extend here, so we'd have this nice bump. This is that common shape that we talked about earlier, and then we just protect our cutting point. So we don't have anything to worry about there. Yep, we just stay connected. We don't want to let them get any Ataris or anything special. And we're not worried about our points here, right? This was just for reducing. It wasn't for anything else. We don't want them to capture in the corner, so we're just going to stay connected. As I said, this is all we really wanted, was just to reduce. I'm going to push up, that just feels like the natural thing for me to do. And then we can just stay connected on the third line here. We can push and jump. We can play a knight's move. There's a lot of different options. I think I'll just push and jump. That should be okay. Yep. Just jump here and we should be good to go. Yep. Oh, not right click. Right click doesn't do anything. Just connect, stay solid. Yep, and just connect again. We don't want to leave these Ataris behind. Yep, connect. We don't want them to capture anything. And if they cut through, we're able to Atari and connect to our center, so we should still be okay. Nice, they're actually just going straight for endgame stuff, which is really cool. I think we'll do the same thing. I'm going to push through here. I'm going to do this Hane and connect. I think this has more weakness in it. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're playing some sort of endgame, you're usually going to be okay here. This is a Hane, but it doesn't really do anything. I can actually just block directly. So there's not really any reason why they had to do that one. Yeah, so we can just go straight to more endgame stuff. I'm going to push through and ask if I can capture this stone, because I'd be happy to do that. I'm going to push again. I'm just asking questions, asking if I can capture over and over. Be very annoying. Okay. Decide to answer this way. I'm just going to Atari. I still want to capture these stones. It feels good. And I'm going to be blocking here. This is threatening to kill the group again. And now they made 2 eyes. That feels pretty good for us here. And we're just going to do some basic pushing into the areas, and nothing really too complicated here. Just a lot of these simple pushing moves. And we got rid of 1 monkey jump, so we can get rid of another one here by playing this block. That feels pretty good. We can also do this nice Atari in the center. This feels pretty good too. If they don't answer, we can capture and maybe capture some more stones. So as long as you're always earning at least 1 point with what you're doing, that's always going to be good enough. So we're going to be blocking here. We have lots of different options, but always good. If you do think that there's some weakness you have to defend, then defend it, right? That's always fine to do. If you don't think there's anything, then you just don't need to defend. So after this, I think there's nothing we really have to worry about, but I will be adding another move here to the center area, just to make sure that everything is completely connected without any sort of problems. So if I'm being very efficient, I could probably add like this move, be a little bit annoying, or try to do something special here, but I'm just going to be adding a random like jump here like this. This will be good enough. Jump, tiger's mouth, anything here, just to make sure everything is perfectly connected. Okay, they're going to try to do something here in the center. Oh, right-clicking again. You should always read everything out as best you can. I think we don't have to worry about anything, but I'm going to be cutting here. And the thing that you have to be really careful about in this situation is maybe Atarying the stone. That could be something you have to worry about. So we'll see what happens. See what they do here. So if we Atari the stone and they Atari, we have to connect, then they connect. And it looks like we have just enough liberties to Atari here. And they go out, and it should actually be enough. But another good way to do that is just to extend, and that should also work too. Maybe even just capture as well, if we want to be very safe. I'm going to do the extension. We have a lot of options here. Play whatever looks like the easiest one for you. Yep, just connect. We don't want to let them push and cut and do anything there. That one should be fairly easy to read if you do look at it. Sure, I will connect. It's worth a couple points. Why not? Hane, we do have to check if there's anything. So if we block and they throw in, we connect and they cut, maybe there's something there. This is where you can really easily get into a lot of trouble. So I'm just going to be backing off. You can back off with an empty triangle too, or like a normal box, a filled triangle. I'm going to back off like this. This is always like the safe way to do it. So I'm just going to do it this way. Make sure that I have no problems. Especially when they have like this ko shape, that you can usually do more if you block. So whenever they have this ko shape, I usually back off on the second line. While they're doing this one, we can actually push in here to threaten to cut now because we protected our cutting points. And then we can go back and fix any sort of problems here. We actually don't technically have a problem here, but I'm just going to connect in some way. We'll do this one. I don't think it really mattered too much. Just Atari. We're going to stay strong over here. Just going to Atari again because we can. And then just connect to make sure they can't double Atari us. I think at this point, we've gotten to just the really small end game stuff, so I'm probably going to be skipping to the end. I don't think there's anything else we will have to worry about on this board. So I'm just going to play the end game fairly quickly now. All right. Made it all the way to the end here. Our opponent pass. Let's pass as well. I think everything is selected properly. so we can accept the remove stones here. There we go. We ended up winning by 23.5. Kind of an interesting game overall. So I'm not sure we have to really go into too much detail about how this game went on, because I think I did talk enough about it during the game. I hope you're looking forward to more stuff. The next video will likely be about invasions, at least one particular invasion. I hope this video was helpful. Hope you're having a good day and have fun.